Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 6.
Good evening again. I'm Steve Hensley. A fire in Pikeville this afternoon created a loss for more than just the property involved. Trailers stored at the Thankful Hearts Food Pantry went up in flames, bringing several fire departments to the scene. WYMT's Buddy Forbes is live on site, where workers say they are heartbroken. Buddy.
Here at Thankful Hearts, thousands of families benefit from free meals and programs every year. But this year, those programs are being threatened after this fire. Pantry workers were working to clean up the exterior of the building this afternoon when a burn pile got out of hand. Several local fire departments responded to the call as flames shot up for more than 100 feet. At least 4 trailers loaded with supplies for the Thankful Hearts Food Pantry were lost in the fire.
I know we were losing items, food, and household items for fire victims and things that people in our community need that we give to them, and it was just devastating knowing that we don't have those items to give them anymore. You know, we've suffered an incredible financial loss, and it's pretty heartbreaking.
Sloan says the items needed for the pantry's summer meals programs were all burned in the fire. She hopes to see the community outpour and step in to help the pantry make it through to the summer. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Buddy, certainly a tough loss there. Thank you for that report. The pantry is accepting online donations from anyone interested in helping with the relief efforts. In Louisville, demonstrators marched for a 6th night in the downtown area. In a news conference today, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher says those protests were mostly peaceful last night, and officers agreed there were at least 20 arrests. Mayor Fisher also addressed the search for a new police chief. He fired the previous chief Monday after learning officers involved in a deadly shooting Sunday night did not have their body cameras active. Mayor Fisher says he's issued a request for proposals for a comprehensive review of the police department.
So this review will focus on a number of areas, including training in the use of force and bias-free policing, as well as accountability, supervision, training, community engagement, and more. The review will also identify any obstacles in implementing changes to improve in those areas.
Now, there was an officer-involved shooting overnight in Louisville. A 25-year-old white man shot at his home. It's the second shooting in the last 3 days. Protests across the country have gripped the national conversation, but talking about it can be difficult for adults and especially for children. Victor Puente talked to a child psychologist about the effect all of this can have on kids and what's the best way to talk to them about it.
Dr. Catherine Stone tells me that she's had parents tell her their kids came to them with questions about the protests and the police response. She says the best thing you can do is talk to them about it.
We let our kids watch Bambi when they're 2 or 3, right? And the mom dies. We allow our kids to play video games. We take them to movies where there's shooting and death. So when it's fiction, we seem comfortable with it. But when it's real life, we don't feel comfortable.
Stone says younger children, toddlers and early elementary school, probably aren't ready and could be scared by violent images. But older kids likely already have some idea of what's going on.
If you have a preteen and above, they can handle this information, and really they need to learn this. It is okay for our kids to feel discomfort. It's okay for our kids to feel sad, and it's okay for our kids to feel scared. This is when the true learning occurs.
And those uncomfortable talks could help in the long run.
You know, if you look at college campuses right now, there's this concern and complaint that college kids aren't prepared for college, and that even the university counseling centers are flooded with students. And that one thought is that our kids haven't experienced enough distress or adversity because we protected them so much.
Some of those protests have included children. Stone says it's important that parents talk to their kids if they plan to involve them.
So on the way, you talk about, what do you think this is going to be like? What do you think you might like? What do you think you don't like? On the way home, you ask, what did you observe? What was your experience? How did you like? What did you like that occurred? What were you uncomfortable with?
All of this depends on the mental health of your child. You don't want to add to anxiety or depression.
So it's also important that you look at where your kid is if there are some mental health issues, and find the right timing to do that. But just saying nothing is part of what's happening. It's part of the reason that we still have so much repression and so many issues going on today.
That was Victor Puente reporting. Dr. Stone said this is also a chance for parents to recognize their own biases. She says she felt a little uncomfortable talking about this as a white person and coming from a place of privilege, but it was an important talk to have. As protests across the country and here in Kentucky continue, so does the COVID-19 pandemic. Today, Governor Andy Beshear announced 265 new cases. The Commonwealth now totals more than 10,400 cases. 8 more people have died from the virus. One of those deaths was a 9-month-old who tested positive for the virus. Public health officials believe the virus was not what directly caused the death, but it was a, quote, contributing factor. The death toll in Kentucky is now at 450. Festivals are a staple of the mountains. Nearly every small town has one, but COVID-19 and regulations in Kentucky surrounding it canceled nearly every festival in the spring and early summer. But as restrictions ease up, what about festivals later this summer and into the fall? There's a whole bunch of them. WYMT's Connor James takes a look at a couple local festivals and how they are handling it so far.
In downtown Whitesburg, this area of Letcher County is known famously for its Mountain Heritage Festival.
We're the latest, usually, festival in the county for sure.
Lee Adams, the Mountain Heritage Committee chairperson, says this year that festival is September 22nd through the 26th. One of the later festivals in the mountains, they're hoping to see that festival one way or another.
People would love to have the festival, and we hope to get to bring the festival. It may be on a smaller scale.
Food booth applications are postponed to July 15th just to be on the safe side, and music will be local, and social distancing may change how things look.
And we will do that, but we are planning.
That's not the case for all festivals, though. In Leslie County, the Osborne Brothers Festival, set for August 5th through the 8th, was canceled Tuesday.
Yes, they're going to do their best to have a virtual festival featuring Bobby Osborne and maybe other bands too also.
Hyden's mayor, Carol Joseph, says the festival brings in quite a bit of tourism.
Plus they give the money to the local fire departments, and that's the big part of their funding for the year.
She has optimism about other events this year, though. She looks ahead to maybe even hosting some other events like Music in the Park later this month.
We're very resilient here, so I feel like we can spring back and come out okay.
In hopes that these events that draw in revenue and build their communities will still be able to be held in some way, shape, or form. Connor James, WYMT Mountain News.
Now, as for the Mountain Heritage Festival, organizers there say if they do end up having to change things up, it may look similar to how the Poke Salad Festival in Harlan is being run this year, and that festival is underway right now. On Monday, Cumberland Falls State Park reopened after being closed on April 9th by Governor Beshear. Cumberland Falls is, of course, a major tourist attraction for that area, and its closing was a major hit to the Corbin area and tourism down there. Tourism Director Maggie Kriebel says during 1 year, more than 700,000 people visited the falls. June is typically the peak of their travel season. She hopes with the falls back open, tourism will pick up in the area.
We felt like we could finally take a breath, a sigh of relief that things were opening back up. You know, Corbin, we're located in the outdoor adventure mecca of Kentucky. And so all of our, the majority of our travel and tourism is heavily reliant upon the outdoors and those outdoor activities.
Corbin Tourism had to cut their budget for the next fiscal year by 50% after the loss of revenue during the pandemic.
It was another hot and humid day here in the mountains, but we saw plenty of sunshine. It was just a gorgeous day. Hopefully you got out and enjoyed a little bit of it. Looking on US 119, US 23 in Pikeville, you can see we saw plenty of sunshine, a few clouds here and there, but overall it's been a pretty nice and another dry day. Looking over into Whitesburg, 83 degrees right now. Not too bad, but that sun is beaming down, I'm sure, making it feel a lot warmer than it actually is. Check out those temperatures, though. Some of us into the lower 80s 60s. Others close to about those mid to upper 80s. 86 in Jackson and Prestonsburg, 83 in Pikeville, 82 down into parts of Williamsburg. Those dew points aren't too bad, low to mid 60s, so that getting sticky to kind of uncomfortable phase. So it does feel a little bit on the muggy side, and we haven't dealt with that muggy weather too much yet this year, so I'm sure it kind of feels a little bit more muggy out there than normal. Now for tonight, we'll see temperatures drop into about the mid to upper 60s. Clouds will continue to increase, and then heading into the next couple of days, sadly, we are going to start to bring back more scattered showers and thunderstorms. The hot and humid conditions do continue, and I do promise we see a little bit more sunshine return by the weekend. I'll have a look at that full 7-day forecast coming up in a little bit.
All right. Thank you very much, Paige. A good day to jump in the pool, and water parks throughout the state, like Summer Splash in Pulaski County, are now getting ready for their 2020 season despite the pandemic, a future that even just a few weeks ago looked pretty bleak. WYMT's Tommy Poole has more.
Summer Splash Water Park.
It's huge for our community, but it's also important for the entire region. It's affordable fun for our kids, and it's also a great tourism attraction.
A huge staple for Somerset and Pulaski County.
This is what most people think of in the summertime, going, having fun, having getaways with your family and friends.
Weeks ago, it looked like a summer without that tradition due to the coronavirus pandemic.
It was announced that pools, public pools and things like that were going to be shut down and not being able to reopen.
But parks did not give up.
But we've kind of held out hope.
Amusement parks and water parks teamed together, coming up with proposals that later got approved.
You know, we've put in some policies that we think are going to make it a little bit better. One being infrared temperature checks for every guest that comes in.
For 100.4 or higher, it's going to target and locate, and then it'll actually send us a notification, and then we can find that individual within the park.
Summer Splash plans to run about 50% capacity, spacing out seating and reconstructing lines.
We'll actually have some staff walking around that's all they're going to do is take care of those tubes, and going to be walking around cleaning handrails as you go up the slides.
With only 4 current cases of the coronavirus in the county, the city and the park will continue to monitor the pandemic to ensure the safety of their guests.
Somebody has to step forward and say it's okay for us to move forward, and you know, we're going to be that community.
All while continuing to welcome people in. In Somerset, Tommy Poole, WYMT Mountain News.
Sims says the CDC has said public pools are safe when it comes to spreading the virus as long as the chemical balance is correct. Prestonsburg Food City is serving up some new flavor. As part of the store's recent remodel, customers now have access to Starbucks. The kiosk opened Monday, bringing fresh jobs and coffee to the store, and store manager Adam Baldridge says it's been a big success.
We're the 3rd location in our district here in Kentucky to have the Starbucks. You know, Starbucks is a big brand. People love it, and we're just excited about being able to team up with Starbucks and have it here at our location.
The kiosk is open daily from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. The Perry County Farmers Market is scheduled to open this weekend at their new location in Hazard. It will be open from 7 a.m. until noon on Saturday at Triangle Park near downtown. Parking will now be on both sides of the street to accommodate nearby businesses and market goers. Well, Kentucky is home to more than 150 farmers markets in more than half the state's counties. These markets not only provide fresh produce, but produce directly from farms of our neighbors. And now reopening, business as usual has a different meaning. WYMT's Lacey Roberts explains.
Here at the intersection of Highway 15,
hello,
Mike Johnson of Johnson's Fresh Fruit and Vegetables prepares for a busy day at the Breathitt County Farmers Market.
You know, we're interacting with a lot of people for bushels forward.
With new social distancing rules and guidelines in place,
with not letting people handle it, sanitizing and washing our hands.
The market has a new look.
I don't want to catch it and take it home to my family, and I don't want to spread it to my customers.
The coronavirus. Johnson says his first priority is his customers as well as product.
Sold my last gallon right then. Without customers feeling safe to come to the market, I might as well stay home.
Like some farmers utilizing the help of the Coronavirus Food Assistance Program.
Well, that will provide direct payments to producers impacted by the pandemic,
covering the costs of lost specialty crops, including livestock. making going back to business as usual
But now they're nice.
a little bit easier. In Breathitt County, Lacey Roberts, WYMT Mountain News.
The Breathitt County Farmers Market is open Wednesdays and Saturdays from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m.